Hey everyone, Adam Shaw here from Bravura Media Company. Today we're going to show you several photographs that are in our collection, and they're photographs from the early 1900s, and they kind of display several aspects of New York City life and how people lived and what kind of clothes they wore, what jobs they had. We're going to explore all those different topics in these historical photos and kind of examine them and zoom in and see the different details. So let's dive right in and take a look at our photographs. Right here we have a vintage photograph that was produced in 1911. It was taken on Fifth Avenue, and as you can see, this was taken obviously during a cold weather month because people are wearing heavy coats. And they're wearing hats and just heavy trench coats. You kind of see that in this photograph. The first thing that I noticed is the size of the hats women wore back in the early 1900s. Man, were they huge. Look at this thing. And how eccentric these hats look. Again, this is Fifth Avenue. There are many affluent people on this street. Up to this day, there are affluent people on this day. But back then, you get to see exactly how the affluent kind of looked and how they kind of lived. And you can see, I mean, that hat alone is quite exquisite. And you can see this woman also wearing a fur coat, and fur obviously had to be extremely popular amongst people living on Fifth Avenue. And you can see the trench coats and the top hats worn by businessmen and men of affluence in this picture. So let's move on to the next one. Let's go to this one. This one's another one of Fifth Avenue. And we can zoom in and we can see this was taken during a warm weather month. This man has a straw hat. He's got a wristwatch connected to a chain to his belt, so obviously we can tell this is Fifth Avenue. Obviously the affluent people had wristwatches connected to their belts. We can see it's a warm weather month because she's in short sleeve, and a lot of people are wearing straw hats down the street. Straw hat there. Straw hats were typically worn during warm weather months instead of the top hat, which was a cold weather month. And then we can see the horse and buggies going down the streets, and kind of just the cleanliness of the street is another thing. As you can see how the affluent lived in New York City. I mean, these streets are clean compared to a lot of the other regions, whether it be Little Italy or the Five Points area. Kind of that area is I don't want to say it's like a slummy area, but it's much more crowded and not as clean as you would see. I mean, there's no trash on the street here on this Fifth Avenue photograph at all. And look at the architecture, and there's no decrepitness. It's just very pearly and almost like a Wonderland kind of appeal. So that's another one of our Fifth Avenue photographs. It was taken in 1908. The next one, we're going to look at the tenement life. This is a picture of Little Italy. Obviously, it is definitely the town across the tracks compared to Fifth Avenue. I mean, look at how many lines of hanging clothing you have going from building to building. I mean, hundreds of lines. And, this is the working class of New York City in the early 1900s. This photograph was taken in 1900, and obviously you can see, just the grit and the determination to bring your family up is perfectly iconic in this photograph of people drying their clothes out on a clothesline, attaching it to several buildings. And I appreciate this photograph just the way it looks, because it kind of reminds you of that kind of that Yankee grit and that determination to work and to work hard and prosper. I like this photograph a lot. The next photograph we have in our collection is a newsstand. This is obviously a photograph from the early 1900s, and in it we can see many different aspects. We can see a cigar ad over on this stairwell. This is a transit station exit, as we can see people going down it. And we can see a lot of different activities. This is a vendor stand for publications. And we can see photographs and a magazine, the Century magazine box. And I'm guessing that's a magazine that was sold here at this publication vendor, Newsstand. Again, we can see these crazy hats again worn by women. I mean, this is a fur hat. It's quite eccentric. And we can also tell by the clothing. This photo was taken during a winter weather month. Everyone is wearing heavy jackets. His collar is up around his neck. This definitely tells me it's winter weather and it's a colder month. But definitely another one of our great photographs in our collection. Knox Gelatin. Wow, they advertise gelatins. Changes a prosy dinner into a poem. Wow, so advertisements as people were walking down the transit exits. Let's dive right into the next photograph. I love this photograph so much. I mean, talk about the hard working grit and determination to prosper and to bring your family up from being just immigrants coming to a new land to working hard. I love this photograph. I mean, look at how hard people worked and the dangers. They risked their lives just to go up on a ledge, no pun intended, to work. And I really love this photograph. This was taken in 1905 in December, so I'm sure that was pretty cold to be up there. And you can just see how high it is with this off in the river. I'm guessing that's off in the East River. And just a lovely photograph, really. And let's go. Here's a Central Park photograph that I really like, and you can kind of see the clothing people were wearing. Again, the popular top hat worn by, I would say, younger people predominantly, but because this gentleman is not wearing a top hat to the same style as they are, but top hat over there. You can see a couple walking down Central Park, another couple, and it was kind of, this seems like a leisurely activity that a lot of New Yorkers back in the early 1900s did. This photograph was taken in 1910, and you can see this is again a winter weather month. There are no leaves on the trees. This is either winter or early spring by my guess, but again, just one of the leisure activities you have in New York City. The next photograph, Central Park, again, taken in 1905, and people had pets. People had dogs. This is a sheepdog that is being walked. A woman is walking her dog through Central Park on the sidewalk, and I'm guessing companionship and having dogs was an important part of someone's life in New York City, even all the way back to 1905. And you can kind of see that in this picture. Now, here's a horse and buggy in the background. You can see, obviously, another cold winter month. This photograph was taken. No leaves on the trees, and people are wearing very heavy clothing. And, I mean, again, the hats. This thing is huge, and that hat's huge. They're all huge hats. So, obviously, one thing we can pick out from looking at the history of women's fashion in the early 1900s, man, they wore some damn big hats. So, these are a few of our photos in our collection. We have much more content. We actually have a New York City historical blog that has articles on New York City history, old photographs, video, illustrations. We cover a lot of different topics in New York City history, whether it be Wall Street, Broadway, the construction of the Brooklyn Bridge, the East River thieves. We cover a lot of different content. So if you like New York City history and you'd like to see more, check out our blog. It's down in the description. You can click our link right down there, and it'll bring you directly to our blog. You can even type in the address in the address bar. It's historicalnyc.wordpress.com. Or again, it's just probably a lot easier to go down to the description and click that link, and it'll bring you right to the blog. If you like our content, subscribe to our blog. You can do that by going to the right of the blog, hitting the follow button, and inputting your email, and you'll be updated on all our new articles, our videos, and photographs that we upload, and we do it daily. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We come out with new videos every single day. We examine old photographs like these. We examine old maps of New York City. We examine old maps of the entire country, of the United States, countries throughout the entire world. We cover a lot of different historical topics, so definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel, comment and like our videos, and I will see you guys soon. Okay, take care. All right, bye.